Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. In this program today, we will discuss the three labour bills which were passed by Parliament in the recently concluded monsoon session. Three bills which complete the government's codification of 29 labour laws into 4 codes were recently passed by Parliament. The government has said these legislations would balance the needs of workers, industry and other stakeholders. However, some sections have expressed apprehensions over various clauses of these new legislations. In the agenda today, we will try to understand these new laws. We have with us Mr. Atul Kumar Anjan, National Secretary of CPI, and Mr. Abhishek Raja Ram, economist. But before we start our conversation, let us see this report.
During the just concluded session, Parliament passed three important bills related to workers and industry. These bills, which will now become laws, are the Industrial Relation Code, the Social Security Code, and the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code. Among these bills, the Industrial Relation Code prescribes that a company with up to 300 workers can decide on termination and other service conditions of employees without prior approval. Till now, only the companies with less than 100 employees could do so. This means that bigger companies with 300 employees can arbitrarily sack its staff. This is seen with concern along with certain other clauses, like the requirement of 14-day notice for going on strike under the Industrial Relations Code. At the same time, there are some positive elements like provision for creating social security funds and extension of scope of employee state insurance cooperation to all 740 districts of the country, and that of the Employees Provident Fund Organization to all institutions with 20 or more workers as well as the self-employed. Speaking in the Parliament, Labour and Employment Minister Santosh Kumar Gangwar said the passage of these bills would balance the needs of workers, industry and other stakeholders. He said the changes in the labour laws were needed for the welfare of workers and promotion of industries. He further said it was for the first time that 50 crore workers of the organised and unorganised sectors as well as the self-employed are covered under minimum wage and social security laws. The government has brought about these changes in the labour laws as part of efforts to usher in ease of doing business and encourage investment, as stringent labour laws were seen as an impediment. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests Mr. Atul Anjan and Mr. Abhishek Raja Ram. Welcome to the program. Mr. Atul Anjan, my first question is to you. How do you see these new bills, Industrial Relations Code, Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code and Social Security Code? What is your view on these?
In the name of the labour reforms, in the name of giving justice to the labour,
Right.
and in the name of giving a new orientation to Indian development, without detailed discussion inside the Parliament, on the basis of the 2019 Parliamentary Standing Committee certain recommendation, this bill was drafted and presented, and in absence of a serious discussion, this is passed. Whatever new changes has to take place in the changes environment in the post-COVID era, witnessing a huge number of unorganized laborers agony and pain, how they suffered, how they laid down their life. It has no reflection in these bills. In the name of reviving the economy, no concept is very much clear. When the LPG liberalization, privatization and globalization has become a main mantra, and because of that, many economic crisis has developed. Indian economy is in a very bad condition. And what we see today, our exports are down. Manufacture sector is not doing well. Our economy, GDP gone has down 24% down. And small, marginal and medium industry already collapsed. Handicrafts export is almost suffered about $12 billion. Not today, from 1917 onwards, every year. This is the situation. In this situation, more and more participation is required. A participatory democracy, a participatory workforce, a force which can contribute a lot for the development and production of the country, to raise the industrial production of the country. We must create a harmonious relation between the employee and employers. A new type of industrial relation with the humane angle has to be, you see,
Okay, Mr. Anjan.
implemented.
Mr. Anjan, do you have any specific areas of concern, or it is general that it was not discussed? It was not discussed because opposition walked out of parliament.
Because it was not discussed, opposition, don't try to blame opposition. It was, why the parliament, you see, was supposed to go up to 2nd of October. Why it stopped its functioning 10 days before that, 1 or 8 days before that? Because this government has no courage to face the parliament and to discuss in depth all the issues. 43 bills in 10 days. In 10 days. It never ever happened in the Indian parliamentary system. I remember Atal Bihari Vajpayee and other people, those who used to say, more longer period for the parliament to do business. At least 3 months. And at least after pro-COVID, after post-COVID situation, you require, when people are dying, when industries are sick, when people are, what to do? You are talking about a general thing. A government does not know how many migrant workers died on the way. They failed to give the numbers. The railway says that 114 people died in the trains. 16 people were cut into pieces on the railway track in Maharashtra. 10 people died when a truck was converted, went to a ditch. And in near Safai National Highway, Lucknow and Delhi, 23 people were killed when a truck, you see, dashed to a bus. So these are the numbers which you reported, and the parliament was not allowed to ask such questions, and you are talking about it. We have passed it, okay, passed it. We are bringing down the morale and the authority and authenticity of Indian parliament.
Okay, before I come back to you, I'll go to Mr. Rajaram. Mr. Rajaram, how do you see these 3 bills? What is your view on these bills?
My view is not completely in favor of these bills. Neither I am in complete against these bills, because originally we had 44 acts, and these were created during the colonial times.
Right.
And these 44 acts have been merged into 4. So there was a need of modernization, and there was also a need, or it was a submission of organization, businessmen, that they should be, the compliance burden for these labor laws should be reduced, and they should be incentivized for providing a formalization of the economy. because they run a formal business. So this has been taken care by these these new acts, labor laws. But the problem is dilution is without participation or without deliberation. I agree to what Mr. Ranjan has said, that these bills were passed without discussion in the parliament because there was walkout by the opposition. But yes, we should also find why opposition was forced to do walkout. Because when you pass a important legislation without discussion, then there are chances that we might find something contrary to majority belief has been passed. Because when these were sent to the committees in 2019, more than 100 cuts were recommended by the committee. One more important thing, that these laws bifurcate activities into two categories: core activity and non-core activity. And they say that in the core activity, you are not allowed to have a contract labor. And freelancers are also covered in this, which is incorrect considering modernization in the modern times. Also, the occupational safety of women has been compromised by these bills. It has been said that women can work to any number of hours. So yes, you can provide safety to a woman who is working late night in your office premises. But what about when she comes from office to home, or when she travels from home to office during night? This and completely a freedom has been given to the employer. But I must say one thing, that these changes were need of the hour, and this will help economy to grow further, because some of the companies were resistant to invest more because of labor laws. So a balanced approach has not been taken. It is more tilted towards employer friendly, and this might create long-term problem. When we are facing pandemic, and we have seen laborers walking on the streets to go home, then weakening of labor laws might create challenge, a long-term challenge. And in this case, that we have the number of workers from 100 to 300 has been raised for closing the business entity. So tomorrow, if anyone closes a business entity, then where the laborers will go? And their bargain power is all-time low. Second, when we see Industrial Dispute Act or Factories Act 1948, which said, okay, you for more than 10 employees, 10 workers, then you need to provide some sort of support. The number has been raised to 300. So small industries would not be able to, so small industries would not provide such support. So MSMEs would be forced to take benefit of these changes and might extract more from the labor. So reforms were needed, but on the cost of labor is not good, and the way it has been passed is a mockery of democracy. One more thing, that now there are only two dispute forums. One is the conciliation officer and the tribunal. So this has reduced the way you can, if you have any dispute with your employer, then you have reduced his power or his right to challenge before constitutional authorities or judicial authorities. This is also not good. And if numbers mean anything, if we can do anything for numbers, then that is not the way. Just saying we want to make it $5 trillion economy or making $5 trillion economy doesn't mean that benefit of the reforms will go to the last person standing in the row, in the queue. So these reforms are pro-business, against labor laws, but they are going to generate good revenue, investment would come, and economy will flourish. but it would be, economy would flourish on the costs of labor.
Okay, Mr. Anjan, you heard Mr. Rajaram's his views, and I will also draw your attention maybe about the positive aspect like ESIC will be extended to across the country, all the districts across the country, and social security fund will be created. So how do you see these things also, along with the views expressed by Mr. Rajaram?
A noted economist, Mr. Rajaram, has given a new light the different aspect of Industrial Dispute Act and what really this bill means and what the handicaps are there. And he has correctly mentioned in this whole bill, women's security has not been taken into account very seriously. And they are growing in numbers in our industries, and especially the new industries, those who are scientifically very much sensitive, and we can say that in the technology and other fields they are playing a vital role. But for their security, bill speaks nothing. But anyway, this bill also indirectly or directly, not in fact, stops unionization among the laborers. It will be very difficult for unions to get themselves registered. Neither you accept that idea of one unit, one union, one industry, one union. You don't have that idea. And many of the international labor organizations' recommendations are not reflected in these bills. All right, social security, if you take it up, very good. But you understand, if the EPF would have not been there, there will be thousands of the workers would have died during this post-COVID period. And you see how much money from the EPF has been taken out by the workers. They have forgotten about future, what will happen in future. They have been thrown out of their jobs. They are on the streets. So they are now maintaining their family and bread and butter because of whatever they have contributed in EPF. Certain facts we must acknowledge, that in these bills, hire and fire is the main idea. And where the biggest employers organization like CII has not spoken anything very much, because CII, in my opinion, always sings the song of the government, whether it is earlier government, present day government. It's a good band. It's a good band. Whosoever comes into power, and they only cultivate the governments, and they go on moving, and they make situation like that the employers' interest can be protected. They don't speak about the employees. I agree with what Raghuraj has said, Rajaram has said, that without the prosperity of the workers, any industry cannot flourish. And harmonious, at the beginning I said, a harmonious relation between employee and employers will facilitate to come out from this moribund economic situation. And India, yes, correctly, my friend, noted economist, said that now nobody is talking about $5 trillion economy. Nobody is talking. Now, Antyodaya has become the things. Where is the Antyodaya? The farm bills, the agriculture related bills, they will destroy the agrarian economy of this country. With this electricity bill, when the small, marginal and the medium industries are almost in dying situation, this electricity bill, this paves the way that all the subsidies, whatever is given to the farmers, to the downtrodden people, scheduled tribes, scheduled caste and marginalized people, economically marginalized people, whatever concession that will not be there, and already 10 rupees to 15 rupees per unit, if the electricity charges will be there, how this small, medium and industries and handicrafts will work? So it will be very difficult and impossible these draconian laws in the agriculture field will have a devastating effect on industry also, because you get raw material from there. You get raw material from there. So I think now all these bills must be discussed thoroughly, and I request from this APN television to the President of India, please, those bills who has been not passed with serious and debt discussion, that should not be signed by him. It should be sent back to Parliament again to discuss it. He has a right. And I just want to say this, President of India, Sri Ramnath Kovind ji, Honorable President Ramnath Kovind ji, you belong to scheduled caste community. You come from a very poor family. You are a small, very poor farmer. You had only 1 year as a president. Don't be under threat. See, these are not democratically discussed with the parliamentary norms and forms. It is within your jurisdiction and right to return back it to the parliament for serious discussion.
Right.
Many things as far as agriculture is concerned, it's a state subject. No state government is being discussed. On this industrial relations also, throughout the country, the states are managing it. So it should be discussed very seriously with the states also. We are living a transparent society, and a transparent law is the need of the hour, and Parliament must be also transparent. I just want to remind your viewers that there was a Justice Krishna Iyer in Supreme Court who gave the new direction to the whole labor laws. And his judgment is landmark judgment, where he says the country has to go forward whatever may come on the way, and the Indian labor and Indian agriculture, our farmers and our laborers has to contribute to make this country a mighty powerful country. And so the labor laws has to be labor friendly. And since then, many labor laws has been made. I agree that lot of 42 or 44 laws are there which has to be clubbed together.
Right.
Many of them are the old thing. This has to be changed, but with the new light, with the new vision, with transparency and with openness, and with to accommodate the aspirations of the country, and at the same time for the well-being of the labor of this country, the workforce of this country. The whole, they have contributed. During the 2008 and 9 world economic crisis, our public sector stood. Today's public sector in India is the hard labor of the labor of our working class. They have brought up this.
Okay,
and we can find out. We can fight out, and we can find out any problem. So,
Okay, let me now ask Mr. Rajaram about the provisions in the bill about Social Security Fund and ASIC to be extended across the country. But at the same time, there is concern about job security, since the provision about, sacking of employees by a company now with 300 employees. Earlier it was 100 employees. Now it has been raised to 300 employees. So does that create a job insecurity?
The government is having a problem with that part, and these problems have been compounded in last 6 years. And ease of doing business is just a slogan. So government has to create some ease of doing business, and same time it is also responsible for protecting and strengthening labor welfare and their right. These 4 acts, or 3 acts, and one is a bill, fails unreasonably to strike a balance in between of this. It is very unfortunate that these reforms have come when unemployment is at its height and pandemic is at its peak.
Right.
But one thing these labor laws would generate a good economy, good business, because now freedom lies with the employer. He can close the company any day. Second, they have also created, earlier they have created bankruptcy laws where employer could close the company and say, I am a bankrupt.
Right.
So, gradually, labor laws are weakening day by day. In a civilized and progressive society, the ambit of labor law must be to widen an economic development. However, the neoliberal form of globalization that India has witnessed is taking these things in a reverse place. What Anjan sir has said, that yes, the laws were passed when opposition was not there. But had opposition was been there also, then also BJP has a number, the government has a number. But the beauty of the democracy is to hear the voice of the minority. If we go with the numbers only, then the majority can force anything on the minority. And the laborers are minority. They don't have say. Employers have big organizations, CII, all organizations are for employer friendly. Vis-a-vis these laws weaken the unionized system, or we are going to a SEZ type of thing where you are not allowed to form a union. SCPIs, you can't form a union. So already a weak person wanted to negotiate, he has a right to form a union, and now that right has also been withdrawn from him.
Okay,
This law,
Mr. Rajaram.
Sir, one line.
Yeah, please.
The last one line.
Yeah, please.
This law will generate good business in short run, but in long run, it will create more labor law related problem, which is not good for the country.
Okay, my time is running out. One last question to Mr. Anjan, briefly, maybe within a minute. Do you find nothing positive in these bills?
Only one thing positive is that the social security aspect of the employees corporation and all that is good. Bring more and more people in that ambit of employees provident fund and a permanent number and all that, and they can go anywhere. But the question is the guarantee of the job. Where is the guarantee? Hire and fire system has been given a legal sanctity through these bills. You are increasing the number, and then I just want to say to the Prime Minister that you are addressing in a year many chambers meeting, CII, FICCI, SOCHAM, this jam, that jam, but you have never asked the trade unions organization to come and sit. You never asked the farmers unions to come and sit. They are the real production centers. They are the people who are generating production for the country. By their support, you can kick the economy. With taking them into the confidence, Prime Minister, you can, whatever hope you think and whatever aspiration of 5 trillion economy you are having, can you do it without the workers of the country? Can you do it without the farmers of the country, without the concrete support the rural people? And I think for that, you must, to run this country, such a huge, big country, to run this huge country, you must have a large heart. To run a large country, you must have a large heart. That is my final comment.
Okay, we hope the Prime Minister has heard you or will hear you in the near future and address your concerns. Time is running out. Thank you so much for both of you for participating in this debate. This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic on Monday. Till then, goodbye.